Right, so here's something that I'm actually kind of excited about. It seems pretty straightforward. It's an older MRE, Menu No.4 Ham Slice, something that's not around anymore, and it's an older style bag. But there's actually a lot more to it than this, and that's what makes it kind of interesting. So I'm going to, despite the fact it's going to take a while to get to the actual review, I'm going to give a little bit of background on this, mainly because part of the reason I'm excited is because I actually have a lot of background information about this specific MRE. Generally, when I do a vintage one, it's something maybe I got off of eBay or something that somebody sent me, and I have no idea where it's been for the past 20 years. This one itself is getting close to 20 years old, so when you're dealing with something that old and you don't know the history, you have no idea if it was stored under like the most pristine, perfect conditions, or if it was in somebody's trunk for 10 years. So as far as what's inside of it is always a big mystery. It still is in this case, but at least it's nice to know that I know the story behind it. And before I give you the story, just to extend it even longer, and give you a little bit more history about it too. The Menu No.4 Ham Slice. First off, that's one of the, I don't want to say more interesting, but one of the more bland and plain and boring names for an MRE, I think, of all time. Probably the worst culprit of that ever would be the Menu number 21, Tuna. I mean, they have stuff like chicken pesto pasta, beef roast with vegetables, chicken and dumplings, and there were things in the past like Country Captain Chicken. You know, kind of interesting names. But something like tuna and ham slice, it's pretty utilitarian and kind of boring. And I think I did mention this one's been around for a while. Another interesting aspect of this for me is we had the ham slice back when I was in the military back in the late 80s. This one isn't quite that old. In the old days, it would have been in one of the brown bags. But this one helps for dating too. It's in one of the tan bags that was introduced in 1996. And a look at MREinfo.com shows that the ham slice survived into the tan bag era, and they made it in 1996, 97, 98, and 99, and was replaced in 2000 by the Country Captain Chicken. So this has to be from between 1996 and 1999. So it's possibly 20 years old, or at least close to it. And since we have one of these bags here, just for a quick little cautionary tale, I just want to mention that if you're looking to buy MREs and you're looking on eBay or wherever you're looking, say you're at a gun show or something, if you see one in this bag, don't buy it, because these were replaced quite a few years ago with these. Now there's 3 designs currently, but none of them have this plain font, this plain look to them. So if you find one of these, it's very old, 1995 or earlier. And this one is 1996 through 2007. And these are the modern ones. Granted, even the modern ones could be as old as 2008. But this is the 3 looks, not counting the fact that there's 3 different ones in this current one, but the 3 looks that the MREs have had since the beginning. So let's get to this one specifically and why I'm so excited about it. First, let me tell you one thing that it seems like a very strange thing to be excited about, but I don't know if you can see this. Hoping this will come through, but there's actually dust on this. And I think that's, if I had bought this and was looking to eat it or store it, I'd be pretty disappointed, but because of what it is, I think it's really interesting that it actually has the dust on it. So my wife works with somebody whose husband works for a government contractor. And when he found out that I do MRE reviews, he gave this to his wife to give to my wife, and she brought it to me, and so now I'm going to review it. But I did reach out to him to ask him for a little bit more information on it. I had kind of been in the impression, because he was a government contractor, that he might have gotten this overseas, and it may have been in the desert. But as it turns out, he actually got it in the States. And his name is Joe. So Joe sent this along, and I'm going to tell you, in Joe's own words, the story of this MRE. He apparently works for a company called MITRE. He says that it's a not-for-profit company that runs federally funded research and development laboratories. They get involved in various government R&D, system engineering, system development, and various test and engineering support. He has been overseas, but he says this came from a domestic event. He says many years ago he was supporting a Marine Corps radar program, and he was in Mississippi for a couple of weeks for a big military exercise called JCIET. I'll put some links down below for this stuff. He says it was one of the bigger exercises at the time, joint services where pilots get flight time, contractors can show off new stuff, engineers test equipment, and the military folks get training credits and lots of MREs, which they don't eat. He says they barbecue instead. So he said he was in Fort Stewart in Mississippi, And there were MREs all over the place, but also lots of Walmarts and fast food, and obviously that aforementioned barbecue. And the only thing that he saw the MREs used for, other than the chocolate and occasional die-hard gotta-have-my-grub kind of guy, and don't tell anybody about this, but he says it was to rip out the heater and make water bottle grenades with a plastic bottle, the heater, and some water. Steam, toss, and kaboom, he says. I don't condone that, and I had considered making a video about that at one point, but I'm pretty sure that would be taken down by YouTube. He says after they wrapped up, he grabbed a couple MREs and took them home with him. So this one had been sitting in his basement from 2000 to 2004, so 4 years in the basement, not too bad. And then they moved in 2004, and the new house had an old attached small carriage house built in 1869 that they call a barn, and it has been in there ever since. So for about the past 11 or 12 years, this has been sitting in a barn, and he said it's not insulated, so it endured the full cold of winter and the heat of summer. So I don't have very high hopes for this as far as edibility, but I do want to thank Joe for the story and for the MRE. To me, it becomes more than just a standard old MRE. It's something that has a little bit of history behind it. As I said, this comes from 1996 to 1999. It has to, just going by history and bag design. But it does not have a date code on it. I've looked around and there's no date code on here. So next we're going to go ahead and open this up and figure out exactly how old it is, and then we'll review it. I've had this for a little while. I've been trying not to disturb the dust so I could showcase that on the video. But hopefully they didn't give Joe an MRE that was too old in 2000. But let's find out. Oh, the peelable seal has failed. That's probably not a good sign. You can see it, it just peeled right off of the bag and left the little thing here, so I'm going to have to cut this one. And I will say, I've had problems with peelable seals before, but I've never actually seen this happen, where it literally just came right off. It probably has something to do with the storage, and it may have weakened the plastic a little bit. But let's see if we can kind of carefully slice it open here. It looks like we have a 2009 MRE. Smells fine in there. Maybe slightly musty. Nothing seems to be bulging. That's a good sign. And we have the ever appealing sounding ham slice with natural juices, smoke flavoring added, packed in water. And the side of noodles and butter flavored sauce. Nice little Easter dinner there. The ham slice is from the 357th day of 2008. So I would say this is a 2008 MRE, but that's the very, very end of 2008. And the noodles and butter flavored sauce is from early 2009. So this is obviously a 2009 MRE, so it's from the last year they were manufactured. So this is as fresh as it could possibly be. We also have vegetable crackers, like the olden days. We also have a pound cake, which feels pretty soft. And it has a, oh, it's a vanilla pound cake from January 12th of 1999. I don't know if I may have said 2009 at some point, but I mean 1999 is when this is from. So basically a 16 plus, almost 17-year-old MRE. Well, actually this is early 1999, so it is a 17-year-old MRE. We have cocoa beverage powder, and this is the days before the hot beverage bag. It's introduced a few years later. This is from January 14th of 1999. Cheese spread with jalapenos, which is shockingly soft. It feels like liquid in here. I would have thought after this amount of time, especially being in some heat, I would have thought this would have hardened up. But the date code on here too, the 12th day of 1999. I don't know if you can see that. Now we have a spoon and a 1999 flameless ration heater. Actually, it's the end of 1998. And this one I'm not expecting too much from because it's funny how flameless ration heaters, even though not edible, they will go bad. And one of the signs of them going bad is the iron filings coming out of the heating element and just kind of like hanging out in the bag. Doesn't mean it won't work, but these things really only have a shelf life of about 3 to 5 years, just like the the MREs are supposed to. And we have an accessory pack here from the 28th day of 1999. Let's see how this smells. And this basically smells slightly musty. It's surprising that it doesn't smell bad in any way. It actually kind of smells like the inside of the bag, and it smells like it's been in a barn, which is weird because it's sealed up here, so you'd think the stuff inside would affect the smell. It has the little bottle of Tabasco sauce, which is perfect. It looks to be perfect from the 321st day of 1998. And that sometimes can affect the smell in the bag. It also has iced tea. For a second I thought this was going to be the cider. That could affect the smell too. And it has the gum. It's pretty hard, but that spearmint, that also could affect the smell. And none of these had any effect on it. It really just smells like a slightly musty bag. So I have salt, a moist towelette, matches, and the toilet paper from Lighthouse. So that is what we have in this MRE. Let's take a quick look at the whole thing, and then we'll go ahead and try it out. Alright, and here it is. And a quick look at MREinfo.com confirms that this is a 1999 MRE, which we could tell by the date codes anyway. A couple of things in here are from 1998. Actually, I think maybe it's just the ham slice. Everything else is from early 1999. And everything seems to fit in. Now, 1998 they had regular cheese spread, 1999 they had the jalapeno cheese spread. And about the only other thing that's kind of a little variant is that the accessory pack in 1998 was an accessory pack C. In 1999, which you can see, I mean this is from early 1999, but they may not have switched over yet. It's actually accessory pack C and it's supposed to be D. It's a very minor thing, but it's about the only thing I can see that's not really what I would have expected to see. And I've said before, I know at some point this is going to catch up to me, that I've never had bad crackers. This has a very good seal on it, but it is 17 years old, and it hasn't necessarily been stored perfectly, so it'll be interesting to see how these are. Everything else seems okay. These are still in the box, so I'm not exactly sure, but the cheese spread I'm also a little concerned about. It's really shocking that it's so soft. It feels like a liquid. I would have expected the opposite, but we'll go ahead and find out. I'm not expecting too much from this heater, but I am going to go ahead and at least try it out. We have the ham slice. There's the nutrition facts on that. And the ingredients too. A lot of ingredients on there. And we have the darker pouch here. But it's not bulging at all, so that's a good sign. We also have the noodles with buttered sauce. And nutrition facts on that. And the ingredients. So a little bit different with these darker bags here. I'm going to put the ham slice in here. It smells musty too. You know, it's funny, it really does kind of smell like it was in a barn. I wish it was. It's kind of funny that that smell somehow permeated through the bag. Okay. Let's slide this down here. And I'm just going to let the water attempt to activate the heating elements. I'll give that a minute. I'm going to try something I've never done before, but I saw this recently on MREinfo.com. Somebody had suggested a method for helping out older flameless ration heaters, and even some new ones. And he was saying that because of age, part of the reason it could go bad had to do with the salt content. And he theorized that adding a little bit of salt, in some of the commercial MREs they do give you salt water to activate it. And he said that that may help. And it is activated. I'm going for a couple minutes. I can ever so slightly hear it. Barely. No heat coming off of it at all. I'm just going to see if maybe this kicks it up a notch. Just adding a little bit of salt in here. Not sure how much, but usually don't use the salt anyway, so let's mix it in with the water. Yeah, let me give this another minute and see if this does anything. Otherwise I might heat this up in some hot water. And I think I'm going to say that as of my first experiment, I'm a believer in that salt method, because about 30 seconds later, and you know, you could say it may have activated on its own, but it's all of a sudden it's making a lot more noise, and I'm starting to feel the heat. Interesting to see just how effectively this works. A lot of heat at the bottom. Yeah, I think this is actually going to give us some heat. So what we'll do is we're going to put this into the box. And because of the difficulties in trying to put two pouches or two items into a single swing traction heater, I'm going to put the noodles in on the other side of the box, so it's still against the heating element, but not inside of the bag. That I think is the best way to go as far as using these. I'm starting to smell it now too. So we're going to give this a few minutes on a rock or something and see how that heats up. Alright, and while that heater attempts to do its thing, let's check out the rest of the stuff here. Here's the vegetable crackers. They don't really have there's a tear notch over here. A little bit different than the modern ones. This one for the hiss. There was one. These smell fine. Smell like some dry crackers. The vegetable ones do tend to be a little bit more fragile than the standard ones, so they are kind of, feels like they're falling apart a little bit. Yeah, getting a little crumbly. Try it out. Seems to taste fine though. Some of the vegetable in there. I'll see the other one in there. This is the vanilla pound cake. And it smells perfect. Seems to be in good shape. Got a little bit of a vanilla smell to it. It's nice. With the cheese spread, I'm going to wait on that for a second though. Do the cocoa beverage powder. This is going to take 6 ounces of water. Obviously you could make it hot cocoa with hot water, but I'm just going to, especially with no beverage bag or anything, just going to put it in a cup and add the 6 ounces of water. Give that a good stir. And it seems to be a little bit hard to get it totally mixed, but it looks and smells just fine. The iced tea, these are the two drinks that you get. You get the cocoa beverage and the small thing of iced tea. It takes 8 ounces of water. It doesn't really smell like much at all. It doesn't smell particularly good or bad. See if 8 ounces of water will bring that to life. I should use a bigger glass. I'm going to take a little sip of that. Seems to taste alright. Iced tea with a little bit of lemon flavor to it. And now I guess we have to do the cheese spread. I have kneaded this, and it hasn't really made any difference. This is going to be the fun part, and this may be the part where you really could use smell-o-vision. What do we have in here? I'll tell you, it looks a little lumpy. It smells very much like the cheese spread that you would expect. Not much to look at. Yeah, that's not... Ooh, that's not good. Ooh, wow. Let me give that a little bit of a try, but not too much. And that just leaves us with our ham and noodles. Let's see if these did heat up at all. Not really. The noodles, there's a little bit of warmth in there. Not ice cold, but by the time I mix it up, it probably will be. And I didn't give this quite as much time as I would have liked to, but the heater is definitely not hot. It's nicely warm, but not hot. So at least the ham isn't completely room temperature, but it's not terribly warm. It smells just fine. It smells like ham. And back in the 80s, this was one of the ones I actually really liked. It doesn't seem like a very exciting thing, just a little chunk of ham. But it looks, smells, and tastes like ham. Kind of reminiscent of Spam, I suppose. And it always worked for me, especially compared to stuff like chicken a la king and tuna with noodles. Some of the other things that were kind of on the gross side. Like, speaking of which, this smells kind of, oh, look at that, it's got a liquid in it. I guess it must be the butter. Alright, I'm going to say, first appearance, it looks like the ham survived just fine in the retort pouch. 17 years of storage, about 12 of those in a uninsulated barn. Doesn't seem to be any the worse for wear. But the noodles, on the other hand, don't look great. And obviously, the true test of this is going to come in the taste. Let me just flip this over so it looks more appetizing, maybe. There we go. I don't see anything about this to indicate there's anything wrong with it. It's ham. It smells like ham. And it tastes like ham. It tastes good. It's this chunked, formed kind of a little loaf here. They did actually have a ham and chicken loaf, which really was chunked and formed. I mean, this is actually like real ham. I think I'm going to eat this whole thing. But unfortunately, we also have to take a look at the noodles. Those are nowhere near as appetizing. I'm not sure why there's so much liquid in here. I'm guessing this is the butter. Ooh. Even sounds gross. Let me see. Doesn't smell like much at all. Give it a little taste. Yeah. It doesn't really have any flavor. That could use salt. It could use some... let me try this. I'm not getting the butter flavor. Oh, I'm getting packaged flavor. I think it's time to, yeah, I'm not even going to waste salt on that. The Tabasco would be a big help, but I'm actually going to save this one because it's just in such great shape. So that's enough for the buttered noodles. That did not survive 17 years very well. But that still leaves us with a few other things. Let's try the cocoa. Get rid of the taste or lack thereof of that. And it doesn't so much taste bad, it doesn't taste like anything. There's a little bit of the package flavor. It tastes like old packaging. That's really all I can say. I don't taste any butter flavoring, I don't really taste anything from the noodles. I'm looking forward to this vanilla pound cake. It looks and smells and feels fine. And it tastes fine too. It tastes really good. thinking this would be good in the cocoa powder. And it is. Which leaves us, unfortunately, with this mess, which at one time was cheese spread with jalapenos. I did need this, and it still came out looking like this. I'll give it a little bit of a taste. You know what? As bad as it looks, it doesn't taste bad. I'm hoping these dark things are just a jalapeno. What is this? It must be the jalapenos. They got darkened over time, I guess. But no, this actually doesn't seem to be too bad. I'll give it a try. Let's get that kick from the jalapenos. Despite the look, it doesn't seem to be that bad. And I'm getting this weird feeling along the sides of my tongue. I believe it's from the noodles. It's a lot like this sensation I got when I had the old cheese and veggie omelet. It's weird that it actually gives you a sensation. And I think it just has to do with the age. But the ham's great though. I'll have to give you the final answer in a couple hours, but as of tasting it, it tastes just fine. We'll finish up with a little bit of lemon iced tea. Which is good, but not great. Maybe it's a little bit of package flavor. Other than that, seems to be just fine. I think the cheese is, believe it or not, edible, but I'm not going to take a chance with it. I'm not eating any more of these noodles, but I'm going to go ahead and finish this ham and the pound cake. Really good. It brings back some taste memories. So that was a look at an old MRE from 1999, Menu No.4 Ham Slice. Thank you for watching. It's a little bit later, and I had a few more thoughts on this. I still have the gum, too. Overall, I think this is actually pretty amazing that something that's 17 years old can basically remain edible. I said there was some bad stuff about a couple of these things, but the ham seems just fine. The pound cake is it's actually really tasty. It's really good. The crackers seem like they're perfect. The drinks seem okay. Actually, the cocoa beverage powder is great. The tea is okay. And the two things that were bad were the noodles and the cheese spread. And I think they're actually both edible. They're just not very good. Not something you'd want to eat, which is why I stopped eating them. But at the same time, this is, as I said, is filmed a little bit later, and I've had some time to figure out what's going on with the stuff. And I do have a little bit of a feeling, I'm going to say a burning feeling in my throat, but a little bit of a weird feeling in my throat. It feels like I have a sore throat. And I'm thinking that the food itself stood up for 17 years in less than perfect storage conditions, but simply the fact that they were in retort pouches, the packaging, I think, I don't want to say the packaging has gone bad, but just food being in contact with the metallic material for so long has made it somewhat less than edible. I'm trying to figure out in the noodles with butter flavored sauce what's kind of weird about that. There's a lot of strange things in here. It does say natural butter flavor. Butter substitute. There's definitely no butter in here. Oh, there's butter buds. But like I said, it didn't really taste bad. It didn't taste rotten. Nothing smelled bad when I opened it, other than the packaging kind of smell. And that was the case with the noodles. They really don't taste like food at all, but they also don't taste rancid. They don't taste rotten or bad or anything. And as I said, I was surprised with the cheese spread. That as horrifying as it looks, it really didn't taste bad. It tasted just like you would expect cheese spread with jalapenos to taste. But this is kind of funny. I just noticed this has been sitting for like a half an hour. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually discoloring the cracker. You see that color there? It wasn't even touching there. It was close to it, and it changed the color of the cracker. So even though it still tasted okay, I'm not going to eat any more of that. But the cracker I also thought was interesting because the vegetable crackers nowadays, they're almost indistinguishable from regular MRE crackers. But these, you can actually see little bits of vegetables in it. Like this right here. Not sure what that is here. But I thought that was kind of interesting how the vegetable crackers have apparently changed over the years. So as I said, I think I'm going to finish this ham, but it is possible that this is what's making that burning feeling, because the ham tastes and seems fine, but it was in that metallic packaging, so it's possible that that's the problem. We'll go ahead and have some more of this. Some nice 17-year-old ham. Pretty much as fresh as, well, it tastes pretty much the same as it did when it was packaged 17 years ago. And let's see how the gum held up. Oh, you know what? The pound cake is giving me that sensation in my tongue. Well, I don't think it's as good as it looks, smells, and tastes. There's something off about it. I would say I wouldn't recommend eating something at 17 years old. In general, it's an odd sensation. I think maybe I won't finish that after all. But let's see if this gum helps get rid of that. And that is still pretty soft. It's not one of those tooth breakers. So overall, I don't think I'd recommend living off something like this, but in an emergency, it's pretty impressive. That's something that was designed to last 3 to 5 years. Still seems to be overall pretty edible after 17 years. So thank you again for watching, and one more time thank you, Joe, for this fun opportunity.